All right. Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How is everyone doing today? CJ, what's up?
Oh, what's going on, Wolfman?
What's going on?
Oh, just trucking.
That's cool. How you guys doing today?
Hey, Tony, welcome in. Yeah, I've got to the trucks at 6:30. Had our morning meeting, and now we're in South Dakota.
Nice.
Hey, Fireball, welcome in. Steve, welcome in.
Good morning, everybody.
James, welcome in.
All right. Well, let's get this party started.
Let's go.
That reminds me of the Pirates of the Caribbean.
It does. I was like, wait a minute, is he doing Star Wars there for a minute?
I
Hey, John, welcome in. JJ, welcome in.
got to figure out how to download that Good Morning Vietnam.
I was reading on that last night, and it's like trying to read an IKEA instruction manual.
Oh, yeah. Not very good.
No. Hey, Fred, welcome in.
Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing today?
Big Vic, welcome in. So, a couple of guys as the pilot cars on our crew, they're CBs. I was able to hear our Mark's radio. He was about 2.5 miles ahead of us. I was able to hear him clear as day.
Nice.
Our steerman, Chad, who we put on just a little wheel for the time being. He's about a half a mile behind me, and his radio gets out further than what it used to the last run we did.
Awesome.
And they're like, yeah, we didn't think antennas were that much. I'm like, antennas, majority of your radio. Your radio's not all the. I mean, yeah, you can have a big radio, but it only transmits as well as you have your radio tuned. And also on your whip, I said, you get a 102 whip, and that'll be a talking radio.
Antennas are everything.
Gene, what's up, Roy?
Hey, Roy and Gene, what's happening?
Morning, boys. Morning.
Morning. What's up?
Not too much. Just going through the scroll there and catching some of the videos you put up and talking about the Wusan and so on and so forth and some other things
Yeah.
there. So
Jimmy, welcome in.
Yeah, those are pretty cool radios, man. I've had really good luck with them.
hey Jay, on the CB side of them, how do they perform and how do they sound?
They perform well, but if you're going to run that radio for CB, you'd have to have an antenna switch and a CB antenna.
Okay.
Friends,
Now
welcome in.
let me ask you this silly question, because CJ and I kind of do the same thing, okay? But I don't have mine set up like for monitoring a second CB channel. Like our guys run on 33, and I like to be able to listen to 19 just to listen. But like CJ and I were talking, is that we have the CB radios, especially the Galaxies, have to be so far apart between them. Is that correct or incorrect?
Any CB You can't run two CBs in a vehicle.
Okay, why
If
not?
you do that, you're going to blow the receiver or the other radio out.
So it doesn't matter how close it is or how far it is in the vehicle?
It's not far enough.
Okay. So,
I've seen a lot of pilot cars come in. They'll have like one antenna on the right corner and one antenna on the left corner of their vehicle. And you can have the one radio completely turned off. And the radio that's on, when you key it up, the radio that's off, it'll peg the meter.
really? Okay. So, with that being said, with the Wusan, would that be used to monitor a channel or no?
Well, yeah, but if you're on CB, you can't do it, right? If you're running a CB. So what you want to do is just put your CB on channel 19 and use that to monitor 19, and then use the UHF radios for communication.
Okay. You remember the old Galaxy 73s?
Sure.
I mean, because they had that monitor feature in them. I mean, I literally had one, and I actually had two, and I don't know where the second one is, which really aggravates me because they were such a great radio for doing that. There isn't any Galaxy or any of the Strikers that have that feature on them, do they?
No, that was the only one. When they stopped making that 77, that was it. It wasn't a very popular feature.
Really? Well, I know the guys over here by me, New York, PA, and they absolutely loved it. But
Yeah,
that was back when the radios were busy and everybody was on it too.
Sure.
Hey, you have a question in the comments. What's the best antenna to run on a Striker 955?
The one that tunes up the best to the vehicle. I have no idea. What kind of vehicle is it going on? You don't tune antennas to the radio, guys. You tune antennas to the ground plane of the vehicle. So yeah, Roy, I think you'd be better off just to have a CB on channel 19, and then you guys communicate through the little handheld radios or something. You'd be better off that way.
Right. Well, that was one of the things that, like CJ and I had been talking about is because I wanted to do something like that, because I've got another 655. I was going to throw it in the truck, throw another antenna on it. And then CJ had said something, it needed to be like 3 feet away. And I'm thinking, well, there's no way I'm going to get 3 feet in my truck and have the distance and have a mounting spot.
No, it needs to be way further than that.
Okay. Well, then I guess that answered that dumb idea then pretty quick then.
Yeah, just use your CB to monitor 19, and then you guys communicate on the handhelds.
There's no way I'm going to get all my trucks to take and spend $600 or $700 on radios.
How many trucks is it?
Let's hear. Let's hear. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think there's 10 or 15 trucks for the company right now.
All you need is one handheld per truck.
Yeah, but these guys aren't going to want to be on the handheld when they're driving, though. I mean, I know what you're saying.
Okay.
I know what you're saying about that. I mean, the cheap side is the handheld, without a doubt.
Hey, Dan, welcome in. Rob, what do you mean by Antron 99?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they want clear communication, that's what they're going to have to do. I know they're not used to it and they don't like it, but I don't know. I just had a guy come in the other day and he bought 4 mobiles and 6 handhelds for his crew, and because they need clear communication. So, what does the company want? Do they want clear communication, or do they just not want to spend $600, or is it an old dog that doesn't want to learn new tricks? So it's kind of one of those things where it boils down to safety.
No, I get what you're saying about that. I mean,
Hey, Gila.
Now, if they sell the hand mics um, for the mobiles, I mean the handhelds.
hmm
So like you could have the handheld like up on the dash or in a cup holder or something like that,
right,
and then they got a hand mic like a CB they could talk on.
yeah. You know how it is. I mean, they're all company drivers. It's I mean, I'm sure if I could take and present this to the owner, that I could probably get her to bite on it. I just don't, but that's something that you and I would have to talk about and figure out something like that. So
Yeah. Now, if they want
Mr.
to,
Cat goes construction required tools supplied by employee.
what's that, CJ?
Mr.
Oh,
Cat goes, make it like construction, require the tools supplied by the employee.
this is not how my the guys I work with work. I mean, I get
That's under Dagan.
yeah. So
I mean, you can put like the 980 Papas in the trucks, the actual mobile, but I mean, it's kind of overkill for what you guys are doing. That's $329 a radio that you don't need to spend really. I mean, like if you had one in your truck, Roy, I mean that would be really good with an antenna on the roof, right? But
right.
um, I mean, you can ask CJ. They use the handhelds and they work.
Oh, yeah.
Well, CJ does different segment of wind than I do too. So I mean, he's got to be loading and unloading, and his communication is a little more different than mine because mine's pretty much we're not just when we're making turns and traveling is really where our communication is.
Doesn't matter. They work the same.
Right.
But if the company doesn't want to spend $329 a radio, they can just spend $150 per handheld. And I think that's all they need. That'll save you a lot of money. But the advantage of a handheld is if you do need to get out of the vehicle, you can.
Right.
Feels like
Well, how would the handhelds are rechargeable? Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Is there some ways? Well, how would that? Is the charging base? Is that DC based so that you could hook it direct to the truck somehow?
No, they're AC. You would need a power inverter if you want to charge it in the car.
Okay.
Now they do sell a DC plug form.
Okay. Okay.
On ramps clear.
I know I got to get with you. Try to call you this week and get you squared away with what I'm looking for to take and get a total price on it, so I know what I can afford it and get it sent this way. Of course, mine I want a little bit different because
Dirt
I
rates
like
are welcome in.
Yeah.
to take re-up and repeaters too. So
Well, yeah, and you'd have to prepay for it and get in line too. I usually sell out before the order shows up.
okay. So what kind of time frame are we looking at? Say if I order a handheld and a mobile next week or in the 2 weeks. I mean, what are we looking at? A month and a half?
Oh no, not that long.
Oh,
It takes about 7 or 8 days to come in. Give me about a day or so to program everything up for you, and then ship it out.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah,
Not bad at
yeah,
all. Okay.
yeah.
Hey, redneck.
I got in the last 2 weeks. I got in 2 orders of those radios, and the last order was literally sold out before I even got it.
Wow.
I'm having cold.
It's crazy, man. But I guess that kind of shows you how good they work.
Well, I think in all honesty, until I talked to CJ, I hadn't even heard of these things.
Yeah.
I mean, the both things, the retrievist or whatever, however you say them. I mean, those two I knew about, but these I never knew about.
Hey, good morning.
Well, yeah, because they get blasted on social media and Amazon because they're cheap. They're like $35 for two of them. Well, when you pay $35 for two radios, 16 bucks a piece, whatever, 17 bucks a piece, you're gonna get $35 performance.
Right. Love you too.
Hey, the Slack Fox, welcome in.
It was kind of like buying a Yugo back in the day. Remember those?
Oh yeah.
Did you hear Yugo made a station wagon?
No, never knew it.
Yeah, it's called WeGo.
Hey, Hannah, welcome in.
That was good.
Aye, aye.
Yeah, I remember when those cars came out. My dad was a mechanic, and man, those things are junk. But people are like, but they're so cheap. And I'm like, so what good is it if you're always in the shop?
Yeah, you spend more on repairs than you do on the car.
Well, not only that, you got to spend money on transportation now because yours is in the shop.
Daewoo. Oh God, I remember Daewoo's.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I remember when they were around, and I don't know too many people that had them, but the few that I did know, I mean, they didn't seem to have any problems with them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Maybe one of these days you can meet my dad and talk to him.
Well, listen, here's the thing. The one thing I know is electronic
LV.
and mechanical stuff. Okay, it's one of two things. Either you have a good one or you have an absolute crap one.
Well, yes and no. So it's a little bit different
Hey
than
guys,
cars.
thanks for
Like,
likes.
I probably sell, I don't know, 150 to 200 units a month, just the Wolfman radios. And I have never, ever, ever had one come back.
Well, that's kind of like the old days of the Kenwoods and the the Kenwood, the Motorola, and what Paris. I mean, those were one of those
Get,
things.
get closer to your phone. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. It's the old days of like the Kenwoods and the Harris radios and the Motorola radios. I mean, you paid money for them. I mean, and the reason why you paid the money for them is because they were that good.
Well, and that's one reason why I brought these radios in. I just outright bought one for myself to test it. And the first thing I did was open it up. And it has the same board in it as the Kenwood. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, it's like, I'm a dealer for one of these push-to-talk radios. Okay, and the owner of the company, he has went to China, when he started doing this, and he said the same thing. All of these radios are all made in the same factory. I mean, every one of these push-to-talks is made in the same factory. Just they're different specs to the different companies.
That's right. There's different grades. There's 3 different grades, A, B, and C. Right. C being your Baofangs and TID radios and Redovis, all the cheap shit.
Yeah.
And then you got, your A grade will be ICOM, Kenwood, so on and so forth.
Right.
I wouldn't even put Motorola in that class anymore. They really went downhill. But
got greedy.
Amazing. Yeah, Motorola, you're just paying for the name.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Chris, what's up?
That's the funny part. The
Doc
guy
says a Yaesu #1.
Well, it used to be #1. It's not anymore.
Yeah. But the guy that owns the company I deal for, I mean, he was a Motorola tech for 20 years. Him and another guy that when I first got into it, and they were telling me all this shit about Motorola, and it was not good.
Yeah, same with like Midland, Cobra. A lot of these companies are just living off their old name, their old coattails when they used to be good. And man, they're just not anymore. It sucks. Like Yaesu, what Doc said in there, the old Yaesu radios are awesome. I've got a Yaesu ham radio that was the first digital Yaesu ever made. And it's still a good radio, and it still works good. But
Wasn't Yaesu a Japanese company?
yeah, most of the good ones are Japanese.
What company's number one?
What company?
Yeah. Yes, what company is number one?
It's hard to say anymore. It depends what you like for features. So, I mean, if you look at it, price point, compared to what you get for performance and features, man, it's kind of hard to beat a Wuxen now. You know, that 980 pop is a quad band radio, does 50 watts on high power, and that radio will transmit from 120 to 900 megs. It's kind of hard to beat it. You got a faceplate that's removable. You know, the only nice thing about like some of these, the Yaesus and some of the ICOMs for base radios is they got that waterfall, which is cool. It's just a toy, but it's cool to have. But as far as flat out performance for the money, it's hard to beat it. You know, you look at an ICOM base radio, they're $3,000.
Wow.
Come on,
Mr.
man.
Cat, I've got a two Yaesu.
Y'all better step on that throttle a little bit. Oh man, you better not start distracting my pilot cars today, Yankee. Where was Jerry at? He's about 25, 28 miles ahead of you. Okay.
Yeah, the old tube radios were good.
Up in the truck stop.
For sure. Hey, Taterhead, what's up?
All right, Mr. Cat got the number 3 gifter badge.
Nice. Thanks, man.
So Jay, how do these tri-band radios get around all the FCC regulations?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, as far as licensing goes.
I don't understand the question.
Okay, maybe I'm not.
Well, what regulations?
Well, I mean, I'm still learning a lot of this. So, you know, it's like I know the ham band is, you know, got to have a license. The GMRS or the business band has to have a license. Okay, you know, and I know some of the frequencies that this thing will cover is public service bands as well.
But
So-
it's not the radio that needs to be licensed. It's the user.
Okay.
Just like it's not illegal to own an amplifier for a CB, it's illegal to use it.
Right.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
Hey, Tito.
So you can have a ham radio and not be licensed and listen to those guys all the time.
Yeah, true.
You just can't talk on it.
Well, no, right. But I mean, you know, my question is, you know, legally to be able to talk on these radios, you know, I mean,
You have
that's
to have a
what-
license.
Hey, Crystal, welcome in.
It's not illegal to own a scanner. It's not illegal for me to go into my 2995 here and go to a ham band and listen to the guys.
Right.
So, for instance, Roy, I can own a APX 5000 3.5 version, two-way radio programmed on any law enforcement agency in the country.
Yeah.
I can have that wide open to monitor as long as I don't transmit on it because I'm not licensed.
Well, no, I understand that.
It's the same thing with any radio. Baofeng, the Wuxin, you can have any type of radio and monitor anything. It's just illegal to transmit if you don't have that frequencies. Ham band, GMRS, you have to have a license.
Well, that's kind of where I was going. Is like, you know, for what we're going to be doing with it. I mean, shouldn't we be having a license with it?
If you're not transmitting on GMRS towers, you don't need a license. You're just using them as walkie-talkies.
Okay. So then,
If you're gonna connect to a GMRS tower, yeah, you got to have a license.
and what's the reasoning for that, or how does that differentiate between, say, a walkie-talkie and a repeater? I mean, obviously, a repeater is going out to thousands of other people.
Well, yeah, that's how they regulate it, and they keep the riffraff off of it.
Hey, Dan, welcome in the box.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Does that make
started-
sense, Roy?
I first started listening when you guys were talking about wires or antennas.
Uh-huh.
So,
You got a question?
yeah, I kind of do. Why do ham operators? Not well. First, was you talking strictly mobile antennas?
Doesn't matter. What's going
To
on?
me, no. I just wanted to know what you guys, if it was mobile or base, you were talking about.
As
We
far
talk
as-
about both, but right now we're
Okay.
talking about mobile radios.
Okay. Well, I have GMRS license, ham license, all that. I was surprised to hear that talking on GMRS frequencies allocated by the FCC, you don't need to have a license if you're just talking, simplex, which I was surprised to hear that. I don't know that to be a fact. I will check.
You can go to Walmart right now and pick up a Walmart radio, and it transmits on GMRS 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But you're not pinging off a tower. It doesn't have an offset in the radio. It's a walkie-talkie.
Okay. It's still
So-
a technicality.
So far, your on-ramp's going to be clear.
So then, is the radios that Walmart is selling, are those illegal?
Well, if I remember, I only see the ROJ there. His question was, I took his question to mean, how does the FCC allow Bofang and these other companies to operate on these frequencies? Was that the question?
not entirely.
All right.
No, my question was with like per se GMRS. Okay, with these radios that Jay has, and for CJ and myself, and because we're pilot cars, okay, and we're looking for a better communication tool. Okay, so with the radios that Jay is selling that operate on GMRS and FRS, okay, my understanding was with the GMRS, you had to have a license to operate and transmit, which Jay is kind of correct. Okay, so that's where the premise of my question was going.
And they would work great for that.
Well, that's why I sell them for all the pilot car and the heavy haul guys, because the CB has just gotten so bad. Like some of these guys will go through a big city, and every channel on the CB is just locked up with a bunch of idiots doing stupid shit. And
Well, you got Skip as well right now, and we're
Sure.
on the downturn of that, so that'll help in about 5 more years.
So what the guys do is they'll leave their CB on 19 to monitor the channel, but they'll communicate on the little handheld radios.
Well, they would work. Believe me, they would work well.
No, they do work well. And I sell out of those radios before I even get them in.
And the funny part to this, Jay, is that I don't really know why I'm worried about this so much. I mean, I've had a 10-meter radio for years and years and years, and I was supposed to have a license for it, and all these years, nobody's ever bothered me about it. So, I mean,
You got to have a license to talk off a tower because that tower is regulated by the FCC.
right. I understand that. Yep.
So if you're not pinging off of GMRS towers, you don't need a license.
So that's
Like I said, you can go to Walmart and buy a little walkie-talkie, and it transmits on GMRS. I'll give you a great example. Our kids used to live up in Farmington, and they used to like going to that Wex restaurant.
Oh, wax.
Yep. But when you go up there on a weekend, they're so busy. They got a guy with a table and a chair standing out front taking everyone's names down for the reservations, right? He's got a little walkie-talkie
Hey, Mark, welcome in.
that he talks to the restaurant inside, and that's how they communicate of what's going on in the restaurant, right? Do you know what frequency they were transmitting on, Doc?
Well, I think we're talking similar to the case with Walmart, Sam's. Let's go with Burger King, McDonald's. Let's go with all
Correct.
these companies.
But that
who
wasn't
are
the
not
question.
paying-
The question was, do you know what frequency they were transmitting on?
Well, I've never been there.
I found them on GMRS 13. So
We do have a Walmart using a GMRS frequency right now, but in our area, but they have been contacted by the FCC and are supposed to cease by the end of the month.
why?
It's illegal.
See, this is the problem with the FCC. There's rules and there's laws. Which one do you follow?
I follow the FCC rules and regulations, both Part 92.
Right,
And
but this is
97.
the gray area. So there's laws and there's rules. The problem is with all these three-lettered agencies, they're getting out of hand. They're making all these rules, but they're not laws. Did you see what just happened yesterday?
You're right. You are right. That's we would like to see less of the of some of that.
Well, did you see what happened yesterday? Trump just deregulated them.
Who, the FCC?
Yes, sir.
Not
Really?
okay.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Not the way it sounded.
What do you mean?
I read the letter that, and Jay sent me a picture of it. The letter deregulates the FCC. So GMRS, like in New Mexico, we have the GMRS net, so we can hook up the net throughout the New Mexico and Arizona and be able to talk on it. Whereas before,
Well-
the FCC wanted to take the nets down, and you can only have one single repeater. But now we can set it up to have a network of them.
You can't network GMRS. You can try. If you're not going to go internet connection like DMR or WiresX, it's not going to work.
It worked before.
How many watts?
You don't need a lot of power.
Well, I guess I should have asked the distance first.
Well, no, you're fine. I see what you're saying, but GMRS used to be linked nationwide, right? And then the FCC came in and said you can't do that because a bunch of sad hams bitched about it.
Hey,
you're
Ohio,
gonna-
welcome in.
That's true. You're going to have guys like that complain about.
Got a foot off of the road, you're going to have a torn up roadway.
Yeah, and I think a lot of them are just jealous because, and it was funny because these guys were saying there's no licensed technicians in here because they didn't have to take a test. They don't know what they're doing and blah, blah, blah. And in a way, I get what they're saying. But there's a lot of hams that don't know what the hell they're doing either.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the old guys that, back before 92, they had to take code tests and there was 4 different licenses. And those guys are still bitching about how things are today. The tests, the Tech General and
Hey, Raul. Hey, David, welcome in.
not changed yet, but it will this year. They've gone more.
Jose can't even get a radio check on GMRS
Those
anymore.
guys always complain about since '92 on just the Morse code, and it
Yeah.
gets old.
Good
It
afternoon.
really does. It gets old.
Yeah, it does. The one reason why I don't talk on ham bands anymore is because God forbid if you don't follow the book, the world's going to quit turning, and people lose their shit. The whole point of radio is fun, right?
Exactly. I started on CB. Go to 80 meters. Go to 80 meters and listen to those guys.
Yeah.
Those guys say anything and everything they want to say.
Yeah.
And, the same as if you go to extras private channels, basically separated channels from general or tech. Those guys, they don't care what they say either.
Hey,
But
Art, welcome in.
80 meters is a good, but I know that's far off of the topic. But
Hey,
I basically wanted to come in and talk about antennas.
Yeah. Well, like that Walmart you're talking about, them transmitting on a GMRS frequency is not illegal unless they're pinging off a tower, which is bullshit. This is where the FCC has too much power and they just start making up rules. Okay, well, let's just put this in here. But it's not passed. It's not a law.
Hey, Leo,
Yeah,
how you doing?
You know,
know
and
that law on that, but I know they put it into it here. I think what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to put up either a UHF or VHF repeater. Which there's the sad thing with that is
Hey,
there's
Rob, welcome in.
no frequencies in our area. They're all taken up.
yeah. Yeah, but it's you go into Walmart and you buy 2 little walkie-talkies for your kids and they transmit on GMRS. That's exactly what Wex was using.
Hey, Leo.
So we were across the street at the Sinclair gas station getting fuel in my wife's truck.
Copy
And
that,
I'm
Mark.
sitting there surfing because I'm watching them talk on the radio. And I found him on GMRS 13. And I said, hey, guys, this is the Wolfman. My family will be there in about 10 minutes. We're across the street at the gas station. Put us down for 4. And he starts laughing. I do it to him all the time.
Those are regulated to a watt and a half.
Yeah. Yes. I think 1 watt or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing that should be changed. I think these low wattage outputs, radios, should not be regulated either when it comes to GMRS.
Well, I agree. What if it's an emergency?
Well, if you're running, let's say you're running a 2 meter or a 440 or even a step band system, you have an emergency, you can use that radio strictly for that emergency. You do not have to have a ham license.
What about that guy that just got busted for that force fire?
That was different. That guy doing the forest fire deal, he was taking law enforcement and firefighters away from another area to save his antennas and towers. He deserves whatever he gets.
Oh, that's not what I read. I didn't know that.
Oh,
Yeah,
copy that.
That's what happened there.
So he was trying to divert them away from where they
Yes.
were, the fire they were working at, to go to his place.
It was all recorded.
Oh, I see.
Yep. He was trying to save his towers. That was quite the talk for quite a while.
138 miles to Vermilion.
I see.
Copy that.
So,
What'd you say, 138?
Yes, sir.
so if he wasn't trying to divert them, if he was just trying to help, that would have been different. Or if he needed help, that would have been different.
Well,
So he needed help, right?
I think you just need to look at what happened and what they come up with.
Well, I guess where I'm confused is he needed help.
He wasn't himself in any danger.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He-
I got you.
he-
That's where I misunderstood.
Right. He was sending, he was requesting mutual aid for an area that wasn't occupied, while areas that were occupied were under, fire, and, people were worried about their lives. He had none of that.
Sure. Okay. I understand now. Okay. Thanks for clearing that up, man. I understand.
I love this channel. You guys, like I say, this is where I started. I'm 69 years old now, so I was into it in the early 70s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I started working on radios in '86, and
I couldn't work on a radio if I had to, believe it or not. I can change microphones and screw PL259s into the antenna or the radio. I got that down.
I was very lucky, and I feel really blessed how I got into it. So I
Yep.
know one of my dad's old friends, George, was 78 years old when I was 14, and long story short, he gave me a radio. That night I blew it up because I didn't have the antennas set up right. Brought it back to him, and he goes, "Yeah, you blew it up. While you're here, do you want to learn how to fix this thing?" And I said, "Yes, I do," and that was it. And George was one of General Patton's radio men in World War II, and this guy was sharp. Man, was he good. And I'm just lucky I got to learn from a man like him with no bad habits, no wives' tales. Everything with him was scientific fact. And if there's no fact, it doesn't exist. So anyway, we got David in here. What's up?
Hey, not much. How about you?
Oh, same old stuff. Drinking some coffee, having a cigar.
That's cool. I'm drinking coffee too.
Good. So, let me ask you just real quick, David. Did you have a question about anything?
Yes, I do. It pertains to a CB radio.
Okay.
I'm looking at a JCPenney 6218. It receives good. And I have the stock JCPenney mic. It does key up, but no module, no audio. Would that be the audio chip?
Could be. Could be finals, could be a driver, could be an audio chip. This is one reason why I tell everyone when you're not using your radios, disconnect your coax because you get static discharge. And that gets injected in the back of the radio. Kaboom.
Right. I'm just what I'm asking because I've had this was given to me and long time ago, a couple years ago, and I'm just trying to get it fixed up. Now I can use it or sell it.
Yeah, it'd be hard to guess, over a live video, but you'd have to look at it. Do you know how to test those parts?
No, I do not. I don't. All I know is hooking it up, taking the back cover off, and looking into if there's any mods to or any hocus pocus or, because I watch a lot of YouTube videos on what to look for.
Yeah. Well, it'd be hard to say without looking at it. And hey, Doc, I haven't forgot about you. We're going to get back to your antennas. But anyway, David, I don't know, man. It'd be hard until you look at it. I'm more than willing to look at it for you. The only issue is I'm a year booked out in repairs.
Right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's fixing to be a year and a half if I send all my stuff to him.
All right. It's just, it's crazy. I just, it's hard to find good help, someone that wants to work, right? So I'm trying to do all the repairs myself. I have a guy that helps me and does the installs and tunes antennas, and he's really good. But he doesn't know anything about radios. So if we get 4 trucks that come in and they all need tune-ups, PTAs, so I'm stuck at the bench doing that. Tony's outside working on antennas, and it's hard to get to all the repairs. But the big issue that we had for the last 4 years was actually getting good quality parts.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, because of the last administration, the only thing I could get was cheap Chinese shit, and I refused to put that in someone's radio.
That's correct. Yep. I watch a lot of YouTube videos from because I follow a couple people on YouTube. Mark and Mike, which he doesn't do anymore. YouTube videos. The what's it? Thank the guy that lives in Ohio. Something garage. Anyway, yeah, I watch a lot.
Do you have a good VOM meter?
I don't know how good, but I got a few.
Well, you can watch some videos on how to test those transistors, voltage regulators, stuff like that, and then I would go from there and see what you can do. And then if you got any questions, man, just call me at the shop. Those are pretty simple radios to work on.
Right.
All right, we got Mud Duck in here. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Oh, doing all right. Headed back to the house.
Copy that. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, he finally got back to me on that price for you for that amp, but man, he is slammed.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait. I can't afford that much right now. I'm thinking I want that base radio first.
Sure. Yeah, those bass amps are nice because they just plug right into the wall.
Yeah.
That's why they're expensive. They got the AC inverter in them.
Audio. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but that's cheaper than buying another separate guitar.
Absolutely. So, Doc, what antenna questions did you have?
Well, it wasn't a
Well,
question.
you do, punk.
Hold on 1 minute. Hey, David, could you mute your microphone there?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. How do I do that?
Hit the microphone icon.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. All right. I'm sorry, Doc. Go ahead.
No, when I first come in, they were saying, antenna is everything. And I'm not going to dispute that. It's the truth. But I'm going to say it's not everything. I mean, I don't
No,
run
but it's a
cheap.
big part of it. I don't care if you got a 500 watt radio. It's not going to work on an antenna that's not tuned.
Well, wires. I have a 9-to-1. I can only run 400 watts through it, which I only really run under 200. I talk around the world on it.
Sure.
64 foot. My point to that is only one thing. You don't need to spend, like $2,500 for a multi-band like I have. You can put up a $30 wire and talk on every band around the world.
Sure. Put up a long wire. Use an air variable resistor, and you're all set, right?
Stick up a vertical delta loop with a 4-to-1, and you'll work the world with it. I have.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, great example. The radio you're looking at there in my video. What's going to be the difference in performance if I hook that up to a little Will antenna or I put a colossal 10K on it?
A lot.
Uh-huh. Antenna's everything.
I have one of those brand new
95% of your
still in the
station
box.
is your antenna.
Dave, I agree with you 110%. I always say it's about 90%. You said 95, and I'm not going to argue with you.
No point in having a damn bit of string and expect to work the world
This is what I tell. I see this a lot.
$5,000 or $10,000 radio.
Right. Well, I see this a lot in my radio shop. Guys come in and they got a Ranger N4. They spend $1,200 on this radio, and they got a Francis antenna.
Well, I'm a ham, but I'm also an X 11 meter guy.
Sure. It doesn't matter what radio you have.
Yeah, I've worked with DXAC on 11 meters with a. I don't know if you guys have them in the States, a NATO 2000.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you mean. But it doesn't matter what radio you have.
But I had a 5-element monoband at 100 feet. And people were going, I can't hear anything. Yeah, well, you haven't got a 100-foot tower with a 5-element monobander in it. No, but no, it's your antenna. That's why you're not working them.
That's right. So these guys come in my shop with these big, beautiful radios, and they put a Francis antenna on their truck. And I'm like, think of it this way. You don't go out and buy a 308 Savage and put a Walmart scope on it.
Yeah.
You're going to limit the gun with the scope, right? So it's the same thing. All your performance comes out of that antenna. So with antennas, the longer the whip, the bigger radiation pattern you have, the further you're going to talk and hear, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. It's all math. It's all numbers. So now you understand why in the military, they all run full wavelength antennas. Better range.
What radio is that you got there? Because for me, that looks like what we had over here was a Ham International Jumbo.
That is a Ranger 2995.
Okay, it looks basically the same as what the Ham International Jumbo was from 40 plus years ago.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah, it's a little different.
That's Google's helicopter.
What was that, Doc?
Oh, we got Google's helicopter flying over.
Google?
Yeah, we have a big Google plant here.
Yeah, their test site on their aviation side is over here in Moriarty, New Mexico. We see them flying, testing weird stuff all the time. But anyway, yeah, I mean, to get back to the question here about antennas. Sure, now once you got a good antenna, having a better quality radio, will that help? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it all starts with the antenna. So getting back to Doc, what do you think, Doc?
Well, you can't dispute that, but I'm telling you, you don't need all that either. Okay, for instance, my main radio, I run a Yaesu FTDX 101 Michael Papa. When I'm on that radio, I have an Antron AL80A, and I have a Drake 2700 Tuna. I can switch from my antenna to my wire at 200 watts and hear cleaner sound and talk as far.
So why is that with a wire? Is it a full wavelength?
Oh, it's 64 feet.
Well, there you go. That's why.
But the wavelengths in the feet to the band is the question. Now, Dave could probably answer that.
Yeah, well, depending on where you're having quarter wave, 5/8 wave, half wave, and so forth, and depending what band you're on, obviously, 64 feet of wire isn't going to work too well on like 160 and 80 meters, but it'll work well on the bands above that.
Correct.
Because you'll have multiple wavelets in some of the bands.
Okay, you just answered the question. The length of the wave is determined by the amount of frequencies in that wire. I stated a 9-to-1. So, but yeah, if you're going to go out and do POTA or anything like that, you don't need to take all of this.
For powder, when I do powder, it's more. I take a 7 meter fiberglass pole, wind,
Right.
just wind enough up the pole and have the rest down to a stone. And depending on which direction I want to go, it's basically an inverted L. It's 133 feet long.
In coil.
Well, some of it's coiled up a 7 meter pole, 21 feet pole, and the rest is horizontal. So I've got some vertical and some horizontal, and I have a 9-to-1 at the bottom of it, and it works well at a tune on any band, all the way down to 80. It's a bit iffy on 160.
One of the earlier discussions, Dave, was how freely people talk on 11 meters versus 80 meters. There are a lot of times I think 80 meters is a little crazier than what you hear on 11 meters.
Well, if you're having a local net, you're more than likely going to hear what every person has wrong with them. Everybody discusses that they've got
That's an age
gout in their big toe, or if you have a slightly longer distance, you'll probably just get a 5 and 9 and 7-3, or if you're in a net that's working DX, you'll get passed around and you'll get a few words there. But generally, if it's just local, say intercontinental inside the US or inside the same state, you'll get told everything. You'll learn a guy's whole history. But the further you go, it just kind of gets smaller. Signals aren't so great, maybe a little bit noisier, so you get a 5, 9, and 7-3.
And there you have it.
Yeah,
I'm getting an education today. Believe me, I am getting an education.
Well, I was on this morning on 12 meters, and I've just got a little vertical antenna dedicated quarter wave for 12 meters, and I was working into Brunei. I'm in the UK, by the way, in Scotland. I was working into Brunei, Indonesia. I worked down into the Falklands. This is all an SSB. I worked DP0 in Antarctica, and I worked a few guys in North America there. So I was on the East Coast.
Hey, G, welcome in.
We started working into most of Europe, so the band was quite open. It switched around quite a lot. I was running about 80 watts into this antenna, and it just shows you the bands at the moment, whether it's on 11, 10, 12 meters, the higher bands, you can work well, but at the moment with very little power and without a massive antenna. But we're at the peak of the solar cycle, so we've got a very big advantage at the moment. I can remember 11 meters going back when I was a youngster. You could barely hear anybody on anything. It was just local stations is all you could hear, and maybe 20, 30 miles because there was zero propagation whatsoever. But then it started picking up, and every year you got further. So yeah. So at the moment, we're being spoiled with the contacts we can make.
It'll quiet down. It'll get back to normal.
Yeah.
Wayne, welcome in.
All right, so to get back to it. So, Doc, yeah, so usually we're talking about mobile antennas because most of these guys are truck drivers or pilot cars or whatever. So, on my personal truck, I run that Wuxen 980 Papa, that quad band, and it does 2 6-meter GMRS and CB. I don't use it for CB. But I'm running the Comet SSB 15 antenna on my truck, and wow, is that thing a performer. But it's 52 inches long.
Right. So I run the same antenna for my GMRS and my UHF VHF, which is a Comet 50. But I'm at 1200 in height. I get around. I hit
I do hit GMRS repeaters 70 miles away,
I believe it. Yep.
and it can be done. But I have a mobile
Jesse,
base. And like the guy questioning about it for pilot cars, I can see why they've picked up on it. It would be perfect for that.
Yeah, and that's normally who I sell to is mostly pilot cars. Some local guys out here got into it, and they got their license. They joined the club out here, and we got a tower up there on the Sandia Mountains, which is 10,000 feet up, and it's got a 100-mile footprint.
hey, Chris, welcome in.
And it's fun. But there's a lot of guys in this area that either go camping or hunting, and it's a great tool for them in case of an emergency. I got a friend named Lance that does a lot of hunting, and he went way up north, and he was able to ping that tower with the handheld and a Nagoya 771G antenna.
Well, we were talking one time with a group of guys, and they were wanting to know what the trucker channel was for GMRS. I'm sure you've heard that one.
Yes, sir. I have. And I said, well, there isn't one, not yet. Maybe someday.
GMRS is great for families, and I support it 100%.
I think so, too. It gets a family involved. So to give you an example, we can use the same call sign, me, my wife, and my son, right? So she's unit 2 and then unit 3, so on and so forth. And my shop is 16 miles from my house. And when I get ready to leave the shop, I'll text her that I'm leaving, and then we'll get right on the radio and start talking to each other the whole way. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, we've got a GMRS frequency here in the UK. It's that's 443, but I notice your guys is a bit higher. You're at 462, aren't you?
Yeah.
We just call it PMR. Yeah, 462 to 467 or something like that.
Yep, 467.
Hey, Richard, welcome in.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I think we've got about 16 channels, around about 432.
I believe my mobile has 25 channels of 1 watt, 1.5 watt, and it has 7 channels for towers at 25 watts.
Yeah. I've hit a tower with that system in my truck at 100 miles with it, and I talk simplex 60 miles on that radio. And that Comet antenna is really good. The other antenna that works really well is that Comet 2x4.
Hey, fellas, I got a question.
We're a farm community, and we still have guys out here on 2-meter radios, coyote hunting, deer hunting.
Oh, yeah.
On simplex.
Yeah, that's cool. Sure.
Well, they're not licensed. They cannot do that.
Well, they could be doing worse things on the radio. It could be like CB.
So, gentlemen, what is the difference between GMRS and FRS? And the reason why I'm asking this is because my understanding of it from what I was reading was GMRS is General Mobile Radio Service, and the FRS is Family Radio Service. Now, the Family Radio Service is supposed to be for everybody that wants to take and talk, on a trip or backpacking or whatever. And the GMRS, which is the General Mobile Radio Service, is kind of like the in-between, and then you have the business band. So
What are the differences in the power allowed to run on each one of those frequencies?
In all honesty, Jay, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
That's the difference.
I think it's half a watt for your FRS.
J-Dog, welcome in. George, welcome in.
So, Hey, CJ, take over. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab another bottle of water.
Copy that.
So then, the only thing that's differentiating between these radio bands or services is the wattage, correct?
Yeah, that's it. So like MURS or multi-use radio service, I believe they're up to 5 watts, which is what Walmart mainly uses. GMRS, if I remember right, is 1 watt, and FRS is half watt, if I remember correct. What's good, J-Dog? And like I said, that's if memory serves me right.
Yeah, you're correct.
That's why it's confusing because I know I've been reading about this stuff for the last, and now that I'm doing what I'm doing, it's like, okay, I want to kind of be legal about it, but at the same time I know you can bend a little bit. But when it comes to this kind of radio service, you don't really want to bend the rules that much.
Yeah. And see, like with me on my other band, which is my Kenwoods, my VHF, those I can run my handhelds at 35 watts. I can run my vehicle at 45, and that's because I've got a license specifically for those frequencies. So that's considered Pro Talk, which is a little more professional band that you can get licensed for. That's just another type of licensing, and that one's good for 10 years as well. You're on your 34 in Saraland, Alabama. Copy that, buddy. Hey, Sean, welcome in.
What you find with a lot of these radios, if you buy something for the likes of Walmart or so forth, you get them there set at half a watt. But if somebody just goes out and buys a Bofeng or something like that, they're going to be running 10 watts or 5 watts or whatever on the half watt section of that band because the radio just does it and they can get a lot further. We have it across here with the PMR that we have here. We're only allowed half a watt as well, but the radios that people buy put out 5 watts. So it interferes a lot with everybody else.
Yeah. Hey, Chris Customs, welcome in. Yeah, so like, and Jay, I know he took one of those Balefanes, put it on a spectrum analyzer, and they're dirty radios, so they don't transmit on one. I think he said they transmit on 5 different frequencies all at the same time.
They don't have any bandpass filters in them, so yeah.
Yeah, I actually hooked one up. It was transmitting on 12 frequencies, and 4 of them were ham bands.
Well, they're dirty. They won't hold a repeater anyway.
Yeah.
It's a problem. Now, Dave, you said our DMR here, mobile, is 5 watts.
Yeah, our PMR is only half a watt here. It's company wide, or if you use them individually as well, it's only half a watt.
Right.
It's like 5 to 12 kilometers, but it never works. That you put a building in the way, and the signal just disappears.
All right. So to answer Roy's question, I don't know if it got answered while I was away, but FRS is 2 watts or lower. GMRS is 2 watts and up to 50.
22 channels, FRS were limited to 500 milliwatts across all channels. That's what it says here for FRS.
But that's for you guys?
No, that's for you guys in the States.
Oh, okay. It's amazing how different our stuff is versus your stuff.
It's very similar, but you guys have got big areas to cover than we do. So you normally find that you guys get a little bit more power than us. You know, you can fit our little country up into one corner of you guys' place there. You know.
Well.
Yeah. So Roy, if you want to look it up, you can Google that stuff.
Yeah. You've got states bigger than our country.
Well, Dave, where are you? I didn't catch.
I'm in Scotland.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Do you ever run Grandmeister on your DMR?
Hey, GAR.
Occasionally.
Okay.
So, Roy, if you go to midlandusa.com, it tells you everything right there. Any radio with 2 watts or less is classified as FRS, and you don't need a license to use it. Any radio with 2 watts and up to 50 watts is classified as GMRS.
Okay. But you said Midwin. What was it? Midwin what?
You can just
Midwin?
Google FRS frequencies.
Right. Okay. So then, what are the business band? Is that part of yours, or is that part of the GMRS?
Well, those are spectrums in the band.
Right.
The differences between the frequencies are close, but the spectrum's different on how the FCC controls that. And that's why opening a radio that can transmit all the way from 2 meters to 900 is something that the FCC has stopped with ICOM, Yaesu, Kenwood. They're still out there, but they're very old. You can't Mars mod to do like you used to. The radios just aren't manufactured that way.
Now, what is Mars?
Well, Mars mod for hams is a way to open up the bands that the radio are committed to.
Okay.
So let's say you're on 2 meter. You can go into 2 meter. You can go higher and lower than the actual legal bandwidth and still receive and transmit. It's like I have a radio that will transmit AM on the air bands, which is okay, but you don't want to get cross towering. So I kind of have mixed feelings about that, about radios that will transmit or opened up to transmit on every frequency there is. They generally are very, very, very low power because of that, but I have mixed feelings.
Why is that?
Well, they don't belong there.
Interesting. So I guess in this country we don't have freedom. It's not free.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm 100%.
No. I didn't say you said that.
We're talking safety.
Okay, how would that be a safety issue?
That would be a very good one, just like we discussed with the guy rerouting fire departments to his personal property versus people who were in danger, and they caught him, and he's going to be losing everything and paying big fines for that.
So he misused it.
Oh yes, and that's where my concern is, and it just. You can transmit, you can go to your favorite FM radio channel and you can be listening and all of a sudden a guy can come in and talk over it. I mean, whose security, whose safety, and whose rights are being violated at that point?
So it's kind of like we can go back to, like, say, firearms, right? So if I had a fully automatic something, that's illegal. Why should it be illegal? Depends who owns it, right?
Well, you can buy a license.
And that's wrong too. That's against the Second Amendment. See, there's always a controversy there. So
fireman.
The guns aren't bad. It's the people that's using them.
Yes, that's
true. Jay, so Sandy made a comment. MARS stands for Military Auxiliary Radio Service. You have to be authorized to transmit on Mars.
Okay,
well, that's why they call it the Mars mod. But it's not just, you can Mars mod your HFs just as easy as, and if you're on a ham radio and you're talking on 11 meters, it's probably been Mars mod. That radio that I'm looking at right here, that 2995, I have one still brand new in the box. That's a 10 meter radio. A lot of your new radios are 10 meters. That's how they get around the FCC rules, by running 60, 80 watts.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's fine. Now, when we catch somebody up on 10 meters, we just don't talk to them. And we have a lot of guys that end up with 2 meter 440, and they use them like they're little business radios in simplex, talking back and forth. Is that their right?
It's kind of a fine line, right?
Well, no, it's not a fine line at all.
Well, it
They
is.
don't have, no, they don't have the license to transmit there.
Well, the license is the problem. That's what I'm talking about. Everything in this country, you got to pay for it. You got to have licenses. You got to have permission. You got to do that. That's not free. That's not freedom.
Well, we are a nation of laws and rules. I'm just saying, I'm not gonna, I didn't bring that up to be argumentative.
No, no,
I'm
no, I
just
know.
saying, a lot
And
of
you do
times-
have a valid point, too. You got to
A lot
have
of
laws to keep everything in check, right?
Right.
And who follows
whole
laws? Good people or bad people?
Well, the good people are the ones with the automatics, and the bad people are the ones with the automatics. You decide which one you want around you.
You're right. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
that's where the fine line is.
Sandy says Civil Air Patrol also uses bars and caps.
You know, I gotta say, fellas, you guys are having an honest discussion, and you're agreeing to disagree, like Americans, and I absolutely love this.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially when you get to talking to old vets, and I'm one of them. You know, what did you fight for?
Exactly. What did my father, my grandfather fight?
Dylan, welcome in.
And it's funny because I'll run into people that say, "Oh, you know, thank our military, our vets. That's why we're free." No, we're not. How many times has America been attacked? How many times has the mainland of the United States of America been attacked? The mainland, not once.
I say 9/11 was attacked on America.
No, that was a setup.
Hey, AJ, welcome in.
The day after 9/11 happened, I went down to whatever. There's a base down in Minnesota, Naval Air Base, and I watched the video, and you could see the charges going off in the window. We did demo in the Navy. I knew exactly what it was. And then once those towers were down on the ground and it was over, all the main I-beams, every one of them were cut at a 45-degree angle from shape charges. That was a setup. That's how Bush instated the Patriot Act.
You want to know something? Well, I shouldn't start out like that. I have heard that exact thing multiple times, and I've had a very open mind about that because I was a firefighter, especially because I was a firefighter. Because the whole thing of it was you didn't know the truth, and I've heard people say that it was a setup, it was set, to come down for whatever reason, this or that. But there's no paper trail to prove it. And more than likely, there never will be a paper trail. But to those of you that have been in the military and know the capabilities that you have, okay, I tend to believe you guys over anybody else.
A month before the towers fell, there's video of these trucks going into the towers at 3 o'clock in the morning. What were they doing there?
Well, see, I've heard that too, but I have not seen the video, so I don't know what kind of they were going in there.
Well, there's no video
right.
internally in the buildings, just these trucks, driving down in the basement at 3 a.m. that shouldn't have been there.
Again.
So they were probably wiring everything up, I'm guessing. But if, they said, first of all, it was the jet fuel that made the beams weak. Then it was, no, they didn't turn off the natural gas. Well, once again, guys, common sense. How hot does jet fuel burn? How hot does natural gas burn? How hot does it take to melt an I-beam? They don't add up.
Well, jet fuel burns at what, 1,700 degrees? Or is it hotter than that?
No, it's about 1,200. Okay. So that's where the flashpoint is anyway.
And steel melts and fails at 1,100 degrees.
Depending on the steel.
True.
So those I-beams, it's 4,000 degrees to cut those I-beams.
So J Dog says, but why put so many innocent people in harm's way or an act that protects too?
I totally agree. It's all about
Goes
money and
deeper.
power. And this country is the dirtiest as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, it goes way deeper than that too.
Absolutely.
Listen, I totally agree with you guys that it goes way, way deeper. But here's the thing that, and this angers me, is there was 343 of my brothers and sisters that gave their lives that fucking day.
Yeah. I got family members that lost their lives. They were firemen. I know. It's wrong. But if you think about this, every war that we've been in, 1, 2, Vietnam, Korea, whatever, well, why were we there?
For all
It's
the
about
wrong
money.
Well, yeah, you're right. Because our country makes money when we're at war,
Damn right it does.
and lots of it.
Yeah, that's right. So it's pretty sad what this world's turned into. Then there's New Mexico. Let's take New Mexico for an example. This is a great example. All the stupid laws that they try to pass, whether it be for pew-pews or whatever, it doesn't matter. They don't do anything to protect the citizens.
No, it's revenue.
Well, sure. So they just passed a law, and maybe Chris Customs there can back me up on this. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was something about pedophiles or something like that. That now that in jail they'll get $2,000 a month. They'll get paid.
Yes.
What?
What the hell is wrong with these people?
It's not the pedophiles. It's the young underage criminals and stuff like that. If they get busted, they go through the program, they get out. They're going to be getting I want to say $2,000 a month to try to keep them on the right track. But they're not going to.
You're right, Dave. 73. Have a good meal.
Well, of course not. And another great example, our lovely governor just said that she's going to put a 50% tax on all tobacco products, and all that money is going to go to education.
And it's not going to their pockets.
It's going in their damn pockets. We've been last in education for 50 years.
Hey, dog, because it's just another way for our government to give money out to people that don't need it.
No, it's the way they buy votes.
Listen. As far as the education system, okay, I mean, I've got an 11-year-old son right now, and I want to shoot every one of these pricks because they're teaching him shit that he's got no business knowing and is useless. He's in the 6th grade, and they're teaching him fucking algebra.
Well, I mean, that's fine. Teach them algebra. But the thing that bugs me is when my wife and I got together, I became a stepdad of 4 kids overnight. And
Right.
they didn't know, they never even heard of Vietnam, World War I, II, Korea. They didn't even know what the hell I was talking about.
I don't doubt it. My son knows all this because I'm teaching him all this, and he's like, "Well, why am I being taught this in school?" I said, "Because they don't want you to know. They want you to be dumb."
Mm-hmm. That's right. So what I did with my kids is when they would ask permission to go do something, I'd ask them a question. Who was Paul Tibbets? Why did he name the B-29 the Enola Gay? And they go, I don't know. And I'd say, well, you're always on your damn phone. Why don't you use it for something useful and look it up?
Right.
So they would answer the question. I'd let them go out and play. Now this is 10, 12 years ago. And the funny thing is I can go up to any one of my kids and say, who's Paul Tibbets? Oh, he was the captain that flew the B-29 that dropped the bomb on Japan. I mean, boom, they just rattle it off. Now they know it.
Right.
The Enola Gay was his mother's name. He thought it was a suicide mission. They didn't think they were going to come back home.
Right.
But it's just... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask how we were all doing today.
We're doing fantastic.
We're doing awesome. Hey, Jay, you want to do a little house cleaning real quick?
Yeah, man.
House cleaning.
House cleaning. Thank everyone for all the likes and sharing the live. And we got what, 14 out of 61 subscribers. We got Big Bart there. He's out in the ice shack with his Antron 99 and his base radio, ice fishing.
Nice.
Not
Yeah.
anymore. Maybe in my crew.
Right? Yeah, Doc. I don't know if you saw that picture, Doc. Z71 down there. He was out ice fishing on a lake one day, and he brought his Antron 99 and a base radio, and he had it hooked up.
Great ground plan, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
He said it worked great.
Yep, ground it into the water and have a good time.
There you go.
Hey, that brings us to the conversation we had yesterday about the water and the antenna.
What was that?
So that goes right to the conversation we had yesterday with the water and the antenna.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it works. It works. In an emergency situation, you betcha.
How's the weather down there today?
Well, AJ, down here, believe it or not, the sun is shining. It's a little breezy. It's beautiful outside here. I know the last couple of lives that we did, we were pretty much storm chasers, watching all the radars and everything, and man, that was bad.
Yeah, well, this weekend, Friday, about 2 in the morning, it got pretty gnarly up here and some tornadoes and stuff. And then Saturday, it was supposed to be fairly calm. Then we got about dime-size hail. And then now today, it's snowing.
That's so weird.
Up here where I'm at, I'm about 84 miles north of Vermilion, South Dakota. It's 32 degrees outside. Sun is shining. It's like totally different from 10 degrees yesterday. Snow blowing, wind blowing at 80 miles an hour. So it's changed a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy how the weather just changed so quickly.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Mother Nature's bipolar.
That is no kidding.
Been there a lot.
It's got nothing to do with Mother Nature. This is all atmospherically engineered anymore.
Well, probably some of it is. I wouldn't doubt it. They've been doing that since the 50s. That's nothing new.
Did you know they actually have a patent to do it?
Yeah. Do you know there's a patent on SARS, HIV, COVID? Did you know that?
Well, I mean, like, COVID's been around forever. I mean, if you go look at, like, ivermectin and stuff for animals, and it has COVID stuff on the bottle there. I mean, that wasn't like a new thing. It'd been around.
Yeah,
the patent on COVID was 1986. Look up United States biological weapons patents, and you're going to freak out.
I wouldn't doubt it. Our government, they're so corrupt nowadays, it ain't even funny.
Well, you're right and wrong. It's not nowadays. It's been for a long time.
Well, that's true as well.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Blame all this on tricky.
Kind of like you guys were talking when I first got in here about 9/11. I'm 100% with Jay. I mean, you look at why wouldn't the tower topple? How does it fall perfectly straight down? I mean, it just don't add up.
There you go. It's common sense, right?
You can see the explosions if you look close in some of the older videos. You can see the explosions on the floor.
You know, you made a
and then building 7
point about that. I never realized and thought about that until you just said that about how those towers came down.
Oh yeah, they fell right in on each other. They were demoed.
Sure. Another thing is, think about this, okay? The plane hit in the upper floors. Why'd the lower collapse? I mean, yeah, it took structural damage, but why didn't the top topple over and the bottom stay relatively intact? I mean, how does all of it collapse from the bottom down when the plane hit the top?
Those towers were designed to withstand a hit by a 747. Look it up.
Yeah,
and then look up how many times.
Look up what hit the Empire State Building back then too. Back in the day.
That's right. And then you can look up how many times have those towers been hit by airplanes.
And
A
then the
lot.
next, not to, the next one is like the Pentagon, where it got hit. If I'm not mistaken, weren't they holding like something to do with a bunch of lost money in that section?
Yeah, and they said a 727 hit it. Well, if you look at the explosion, it's a little round hole, right? So what
Yeah.
happened to the wings of the 727? What's the
And they have
wingspan of a
video.
727? That
They
would
have
have
video. Of
sliced.
they have video of the Pentagon getting hit.
Yeah, yeah, with a cruise
Pretty small
missile.
airplane. Yeah.
With a cruise missile.
And
That
there's a video on YouTube of one of the pilots that actually flew one of the planes that supposedly hit the towers. Of course, obviously before the attack, but he said when he saw slow motion video and was able to stop it, he goes, "That's not the airplane that I used to fly." Because when I get to a job and have to fly for that day, he goes, "I inspect everything on the airplane."
sure.
And that belly on that plane, you can see the belly just before it hits the building when you pause it. He goes, "That's not the plane I flew. That's
Yep,
not the same plane I inspected."
I
So I
agree.
believe the planes that hit those towers were not the planes that were supposedly the ones that hit it. I believe they were filled with something that would penetrate those towers.
Well, I mean, any plane at 450 knots is going to do damage when it hits a building, but that's not what took the towers down.
No, 100%. Yeah, that was an inside deal.
There's
There's
other videos
definitely
where
explosives.
you can see thermite leaking out.
Yes, you can see it leaking down molten metal. Thermite is exactly what the demo teams used in the Navy.
Wait a minute. When you say you can see it leaking down, what do you mean by that?
Running out the structure of the building in certain videos, certain footage.
Yeah, it's like molten metal just pouring out like lava.
So like welding sparks or something like that, something like that?
Yep, kind of like that, but with a molten metal following it.
Right.
Like when you're cutting with a cutting torch.
Right, yeah.
And I mean, another one, like, is you take steel and you put it in a fire. I mean, like, look at a mattress. If you burn a mattress, the steel coils, I mean, they get hot and they bend, but they don't actually melt. Now, a cutting torch, so yeah, them beams should have been plenty strong enough to withstand that jet fuel burning on them.
Of course. Chris, how hot is a cutting torch?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. I don't know. You
They're
probably know
just
that
under.
one. I don't.
Well, depending on the torch,
Well,
they're
you
like,
gotta cut. You gotta be able to cut through metal at what 2,000 degrees, something like
yeah,
that.
they're
So
about
it's gotta-
2,500.
Yeah, so it's got to be over that.
Yeah.
Is a cutting torch that hot? I thought it was only like 1,800 degrees.
Oh no. They're hot.
Maybe it is when you're just getting the metal to a cutting point. But
See what
once you
Jose
add
Valdez.
Yeah, Jose put around 2,500.
Yeah, they're 2,500.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, then yeah, that tower should have withstood that fire load.
Of course, that's my point.
The owner of the building took out a huge insurance thing. What was it? A week before?
month.
Before?
A month before. Come on, guys. It's all common sense, right?
In case planes hit it? Yeah, that's
Another
inside
one.
job.
Another one is the I've been seeing on Facebook and TikTok and stuff is the whole theory of the Titanic didn't actually sink. They just changed it and its sister ships' names around and
Yeah.
sunk that one for insurance money.
Yep.
All I'll say is satanic sacrifice has been around since the dawn of time.
Yep. It's all about money. Money and power.
The number 911 in numerology and the satanic world is a very important number to them.
Sure.
How so?
I don't know. I'm not a Satanist, but the little bit of research that I've done, they're all about the number 33 and the number 9/11.
Well,
It's weird, ain't it?
Yeah, that's odd. I mean, I was just curious if you actually knew why. I mean, so.
Well, guys.
No, once I started to dig a little deeper into that stuff, I kind of got out of it because once you start going down rabbit holes, it turns into ideology. So I quickly got out of that crap.
So, guys, who was the big wigs on the Titanic that got killed?
Nobody.
No, there was a lot of them.
Not the ones that counted.
Well, that's why they sank it, was to get rid of those guys for power. And sure, they sacrificed a bunch of innocent lives, just like 9/11. They didn't care about that. You think they care about people's lives when they start wars? Come on.
Well, this is true, but there again, then who killed JFK too?
Well, yeah, because he was going to divulge the dirty Democratic Party, and even though he was a Democrat, right?
Well, I was 3 years old when he got killed. So, and I have never gotten enough truth out of this to really even form a good opinion as to who did it or why.
Well, he got shot 3 times at 3 different angles.
Well, yeah, that I do know. That's been proven.
So we know it's not Lee Harvey Oswald. He was just the fall guy.
Exactly.
Or what's his name there? It was the other one there. His co-conspirator, whatever his name was. I can't,
All right, Jose just became your 15th subscriber.
Hey, Jose. Thank you, Mr. Valdez. I appreciate that, sir.
I can't remember how it goes, but I had heard a theory about the whole John Wilkes Booth and Abe Lincoln thing that John Wilkes Booth didn't actually kill him. I wish I remembered how that went.
It's all about money and control. It has been since day one.
You said it.
It's the truth. Why were they pissed off at Lincoln? Think about it. What amendment did he add to abolish slavery?
Right.
What in the hell?
When Lincoln abolished slavery, did he also give all those slaves 7 years of reparations? Give them land, give them a house, and he gave them a donkey? Did he do that? Yep. That's why I laugh at these people today that want reparations. Well, they already got it. You weren't a part of that. They were. They weren't even a part of that.
Yeah, it's just.
Like,
go ahead.
It's like you take and listen to all the racist shit that's going on today with all the inner cities and stuff like that. You know, I'm owed. Get out and work for the goddamn shit. Then you'll be owed.
That's right.
Well, it's like Morgan Freeman said, like Kamala Harris. She wanted to be the first black woman president. Until you stop labeling it with colors, racism's never going to be around. Why couldn't she just be the first woman president? Why'd she have to bring color into it?
Keep everyone separated. This is something that I always found interesting, AJ. I want you guys to think about this and then give me your opinion on it. So, people don't want to be called any racial names, right? Who does? But they want to be segregated.
Yeah,
and let me finish. So you don't have a black guy, you have an African American. You don't have a Spanish guy, you got a Latino. You see what I'm saying? Why can't you just be an American?
Exactly.
So does that mean you got to call me an Italian Danish American? Because you got to be politically correct? That sounds stupid. You know why? Because it is.
Exactly.
We're all on the same team. We're just Americans, and that's it. Now, do I think you should have, should you be proud of your background? Well, sure. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, my grandfather from Italy he had a lot of history, and he did a lot of cool shit. Am I proud of him? Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally proud of what he did in his life. And he saw some pretty cool stuff in his life. He was there when the Hindenburg went down, Lakehurst, New Jersey. He was raking leaves in the front yard.
Really?
I mean, yeah, he was there.
That's
But
cool as shit.
it is cool. But at the end of the day, we're all just Americans, and that's the way I feel. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the way I feel. But
Exactly.
if you don't want to be segregated, then why do you want to be called an African American?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, it's like everyone says there's multiple races. No, there's not. There's only one race, and that's the human race.
Under God.
You know, stop and think about this too. Okay, you can go look at Great Britain and Australia and stuff like that, and the other parts of the world. Okay, they don't have the racism that we have either.
No, they don't. This is the most racial country I've ever been in. I don't know why.
Agreed.
Well, it all starts with our government, and the whole thing started with Democrat and Republican, right? That's where it all started.
See, it's I don't know, the whole race thing. It's not too bad where I'm from because we live in the middle of nowhere, so usually it's not too bad. Everybody gets along. And I mean, I have black friends, I have Mexican friends. I mean, I'm cool with everybody. It's whoever said it earlier, you know, when they start saying, "Well, you owe me." That's when I start having a problem because look, you were never a slave, I never owned slaves. So, you know, why do we owe you? You know, it wasn't right what your ancestors went through, but let's be real. There's still slavery today in other countries and even in our own country.
There were more slaves in the Irish community than there was in the black community.
Yeah, and see, I'm from Irish ancestry, and I don't walk around saying, you know, you owe me. You get up and go to work. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I'm half
where
Irish and half Italian. I'm so mad I hate myself.
I'm the whitest beaner you guys ever met.
What was that, Chris?
But I'm the whitest beaner you guys have ever met.
That's right, white as beaner. There you go. So for you guys that don't know, Chris Customs, he and I met in the first grade. We've been friends ever since. And yeah, I mean, I remember when we were kids, you know, we were both big time in the RC cars. And that was one thing that we had in common. And, well, it didn't matter, Chris. Anything RC, right? So
Yeah, and big cars.
And big cars, yeah. Full-size drag cars and stuff. And, you know, so once again, he and I have known each other since the first grade. I'll be 52 in April. And since the first grade, our colors never came up in the conversation.
Not once.
Not once. Doesn't matter.
My first girlfriend was a colored girl.
Well, it doesn't matter. Me and Chris had fun.
Yeah,
we were friends.
Back then, we didn't care.
Oh.
You know, race was never brought up back then. Not like it is today.
Now, Chris, please correct me if I'm wrong. So I don't want to get this wrong, but was it your dad? He was from Mexico or no? Or was it grandparents?
My grandparents on my mom's side.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, okay.
They were from Mexico. And,
Yeah.
It was a state called Michoacan. And they came up here. I don't remember what year they came up here. I never met my grandpa. He passed away way before my time. But they came up, and he was able to get legalized. She never did. My grandma never did.
Yeah.
And the only English word she ever spoke that she knew was the word no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, my grandfather, he did become legal. He did become an American citizen. But yeah, as far as my dad's family, not 100% as to where they came from, but I want to say Spain. And my last name, I've actually found my last name in Mexico. Spain, and
Hey,
believe it or not, the Philippines.
Really?
Yeah, I have some Orcasitas friends on Facebook that are Filipino.
Oh wow, I never knew that. I never would have
Yeah,
guessed that, dude.
but yeah.
Well, in all honesty, we're all Heinz 57 butts. In all honesty.
Yeah.
Well, but this is my point. So, my grandparents on my mom's side, her parents were from Italy. My dad's grandparents were from Denmark. Does it matter?
Nope.
No. Where were you born, Chris? I was born here, right? I mean,
Yep.
we're Americans. That's it.
Now,
That's
see,
it.
I don't have a problem with like the Canadians and the Mexicans and stuff wanting to come to the U.S. I mean, I don't blame them, but they should do it legally. That's where
Exactly.
if you want to come in, we have to do
Well,
it legally. So why shouldn't they?
well, it's not just legally. I'll give you an example. So, when my grandfather came here when he was like in the third grade,
You're welcome in.
and he was the most patriotic American that I ever met. Where's the patriotism? You
That
got
is one.
guys that come here from other countries and they fly their flag. Well, then go back. I don't understand.
That is one thing. I mean, I wasn't alive for 9/11, but I like researching it and stuff. And from what I've seen, I would like to see another September 12th because everybody had an American flag. I mean, everybody came together as a country, and there's just no patriotism anymore.
Well, here's the problem that I had with the 12th. You're right. The day after 9/11, they showed all these major cities, New York, Los Angeles, whatever. And as far as you could see in all these neighborhoods, people had American flags hanging out in the front of their house, right? Well, those flags should have been there before 9/11. That's my problem.
True. That's one thing I am very heavy on is you need to have patriotism. Like
I got 2 tattoos on my forearms on both arms. By the wrist, it's a bald eagle, and then it turns into the American flag, and the flag goes down all the way to my elbow. And I had a lady call me racist over that.
yeah, you were telling us about this the other day. That shit is crazy.
At first, dude, and Chris knows me. I don't shut up. I'm Italian, man. I got a fucking answer for everything. And when she said that to me, I was speechless. I didn't know what to say. Was she joking? Or did she mean it? No, she meant it.
It's like there. I mean, it's the American flag. Like, if you don't like it, then get out. That's my opinion on it.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of the people that don't like the American flag, they don't even know what it stands for.
Exactly. It's kind of like
worse than that. It's way worse than that, Chris.
This has been a kind of controversial topic that's got brought up throughout my life is I have a Confederate flag in my room. I'll be honest with you. Everybody thinks that's like slavery. That war was more about money and shit than it was slavery.
Of course it was.
And
So the Confederate flag, the red stands for the bloodshed of the war. The blue cross stood for Jesus Christ. Each one of the stars in the cross was a territory that fought in a battle.
Wasn't that a state? Each state that fought in the battle?
There you go, state, yeah. So what's racist about that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Exactly, and
But
that's
here's the thing.
You know what I love about these lives? We were talking about radios, and now we get down this rabbit hole.
Now we're doing a history show.
The History Channel. But you know, it's okay, because if someone wants to talk about something, and I've said this before, I don't care. I had a vet buddy that jumped on here one day, and he talked to me for an hour and a half about his problems and the troubles that he's having because of what he did.
Bro.
And and I'm okay with that.
All your on-ramp's going to be clear.
You know, if someone needs to talk, they can talk.
Yeah, second on ramp's going to be busy.
You know, I don't have a problem with that.
That's clear. Grab lane 1.
Everybody needs someone to talk to.
And you know,
Exactly.
you know something? We don't do enough talking like we used to.
Yeah, that's part of it. You know, we used to get together every Sunday with Grandma and eat dinner, right?
Yep.
And I think one of the big problems with this country is men are supposed to be big, bad, and tough, and they don't show their feelings. That's wrong. You can go to a lot of other countries, and men are pretty outspoken. They're wide open about their feelings, and I think it's a good thing to get those feelings off your chest. Sometimes you have to.
Yep, but yet if we do it in this country, you're frowned upon, you're looked down on for being weak, and it's just sad and disgusting.
Absolutely. Oh, look what Chris is playing with right there. Whoa.
Kitty.
Oh, that is nice, Chris.
I was just setting up the chassis. I'm gonna try to go test
Agent
him.
Kane, welcome in.
You're gonna go test
No
today?
problem, Medicine Man. Anytime.
No, next
73
weekend I'm gonna try to go testing.
Oh, okay.
I was making sure the alignment is good, and it's funny because I was listening to you guys there when I first joined, and I was turning my my radio on, and I turn it on, and it messes with the signal. I would lose you guys.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've never experienced. I've messed with it before on the live before, and so I'd have to hurry up and turn it on, do my alignment, and then turn it off, and I could hear you guys again.
Yeah, because the phone is 2.4 gigahertz.
Is it?
Yeah, most of them are, Chris.
Oh,
Yeah, I think a lot of the like data transfer and all that stuff is 2.4. Some of them are switching to 5 gigahertz, but it's just the same frequency. Like when we were kids, remember when it was on 27 megahertz?
yeah.
And so if I keyed up a CB, it would mess with someone's RC car because it was 27 megs.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to change out our crystals so we could race each other.
That's right. Yep. You could drive down the street and key up the mic and open up people's garage doors.
Yeah. I made these. I don't know if I showed the guys. You know about them, but I made these billet setup wheels so I can set up my alignment nice and precise.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You did such a good job on those.
Thanks.
If we get back into the drag racing, I'm going to have to buy a set of those from you.
I think I have one set left. I quit making them because people were a pain in the butt to deal with.
Yeah, I know.
That's kind of why I quit building race motors for these little cars for other racers. But that got to be a pain in the butt too. But I'd build you one. I'd build you, I'd save my last set of discs for you when you get back into it.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. Yeah, I don't bitch. I just ask questions.
Come on, Rox. Roxy got up from her nap and said it's time to go outside.
Aw. Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Thanks. I'll show you the latest project on the laser machine too. I finished cutting it, but I just got to do some painting on it and then glue it all together.
Nice. There's the GTO.
There she is.
Needs a paint job.
Yeah, she looks rough, but I'll show you the underside here in a minute. Come on, go potty.
Yeah, he restores them. So he's a paint and body man for Rush Peterbilt.
That's why I said that.
Yeah, and a very good one. And you ought to have seen some of the cars that he's restored. Good gravy, they're beautiful.
The sad part is he's going to show the underneath and it's got no rust at all, and I'm going to be upset.
Maybe I better not show you the underneath.
No, please don't.
This car is actually very solid.
It's this big.
Hey, Dan, welcome in. I left my mic muted too long and it kicked me out.
Oh, that's okay, bud.
Oh, Chris, you
There
suck.
you go.
You suck, Chris.
You suck.
Everything up here, everything up by me here is in pieces.
Well, yeah, up there by you, it don't last very long. It all rusts out.
No. Wow. That's still all original, Chris?
What's that?
That's all original?
No, it's got a Ford 9-inch. It's got adjustable 4-link rear suspension. Moroso drag springs up front.
But I mean, the frame. Is the frame original or no?
Oh, yes, the frame is original.
Wow.
It's all painted.
And just for it being one piece just makes my mouth water.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
It's missing the power plant.
Not for
I
long.
was gonna say, sir, you're a couple thousand pounds light on that front end.
Yeah,
I
that's
hope
why
it's not that much. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But if you look, let me get a little closer. I'm running some longer upper ball joints.
Oh, yeah.
What's the deal with that?
And the bump steer. That's going to allow me a little more suspension travel in the front so I can get better weight transfer to the rear.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. What is that, like 2 inches?
It's a little over an inch.
Is it really? It looks like it's about 2 inches.
It might be. It might be 2 inches. I'd have to measure. I measured it one time when I first did it, and that was so long ago.
Brantley's in here. What's up, dude?
Hey, Bradley, welcome in.
Oh my God, the floor is still in it.
Hey, if you look. That car will look really good when he's done.
73,000 miles.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Yeah, that's good. You know what's funny, Chris? My dad's Barracuda's got 70,000 miles on it, too.
Really?
Well, this car was it's all
parked.
original.
This car was parked in 1990.
Really?
Wow.
Still got a
That's
long
all the
way to
rust.
Full grown in the median. Hey, Bruno, welcome in.
How hard to find parts for that, Chris?
Fairly easy. In fact, I just ordered these the other day. They just came in the mail. This replacement plastic grill surround.
Yeah.
This is all busted up. I got some brand new ones. I'm gonna try to salvage the grills. They're pretty pitted though. But eBay has just about everything. I need a fender for this side, and I think they're quite expensive. They're like $600 or $700 for a fender.
Right.
They're all on eBay.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Is a year one still in business?
You know, I don't know.
Because you used to get a lot of body parts. Yeah, used to be able to get a lot of body parts from them. I don't know if you still can.
I don't know either. That Camaro that's in the garage that we skinning, all those body parts are repops from China.
Really?
Yeah, that's about all of them now.
Man, that's crazy. I never would have guessed that.
I'm excited to get back on this car. The crank and the rods are at the machine shop now, and I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
Nice.
What are you putting in it, Chris?
What's that?
What are you putting in it?
I'm putting a 455 HO in it.
Wow.
It's got Super Duty rods. It's got round port heads. It was a fully built motor. Just the guy I got it from, he just heard it. They're turning the crank now 10 under, and if the rods are good, I'll just replace all the rod studs with ARP stuff and stuff like that. So I'll probably throw another set of pistons on it because these ones were kind of dancing around in there.
Mm-hmm.
Cylinders actually look pretty good on the block.
Good. This channel is funny. We started out talking about radios. Went into conspiracy theories. Hot rods. Yeah.
Hey, Midnight Rider, welcome in.
But okay, that's what I love about it.
You know, hey, you just need to put now with open conversation.
Yeah. Well, that's fine.
This is my.
It's fun
This
though.
is my Hellcat killer.
Hellcat killer. Mercedes.
Let's take her back to lane 2. Copy that. Come on over lane 2. Hold on, here's. I realize the minivan is going this slow. Copy that.
So for you guys that don't know, that Mercedes has got a supercharger on it.
Yeah, she needs paint, but
But that gets down.
hard for a couple of years.
Well, it's considered a family car, but it runs what, 12s and a quarter?
Yeah, it runs high 12 with a 293 rear gear. And on the highway, it'll run 170 all day long.
Whoa, what's that?
Hand-built motor. Now that since it's daytime, I can show you the. This is the clutched pulley that I was talking about the other day.
Yeah.
I'm actually turning the rotors now. We got a belt wrap kit on it, so there's no belt slippage.
Nice.
Smaller pulley. Stock pulley was 89 millimeters. This one is 72.
There you go. More boost.
So she sings.
I bet. So for you guys that don't understand what he's talking about, that's got an electromagnetic clutch on the supercharger you can turn on and off.
Oh, so that turns the turbo on or injects more air into it?
Turns the blower on and off, yeah.
And it does it on its own, but since I changed the blower pulley, it pretty much is engaged all the time. Because it used to engage at like 1200 RPMs, but since I went with a smaller pulley, it engages sooner.
That's pretty cool.
So, and you can hear it. It'll click. It'll go click, and then you'll hear it'll start to whine.
That just means you can step on the pedal sooner.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Dale.
Well, Doc up there's been pretty quiet here for a while. What do you think? This is a crazy channel. What do you think, Doc?
Seems like he's scratching his head. Mike's muted and everything.
Yeah.
Hey, Doc, we didn't forget about you. We're asking about you.
Yeah.
So here's my conundrum right now. We have 42 miles until we stop for gas, and I got 77 left in my car. Think I'll make it?
Hope so.
I should.
Are you going to be Flintstoning it? Oh, look at that.
It wouldn't be the first time I've had to Flintstone it. Oh, that is beautiful. Is that layered one you were making last time, Chris?
Yeah, that's the one. I finally finished it. I got to do some painting and then glue it all together. 8 layers.
Wow.
That came out so cool, Chris. Wow.
Thanks.
Whoa.
Yeah, I spent 6 hours on it yesterday after I got off the live with you. I was sitting at this table for 6 hours.
Wow.
That looks nice, though. It really does.
Thanks.
What is that going to be?
Paint it. It's just some wall art.
I guess.
Okay.
It's just supposed to be, they call it a vintage flower, but it's just like flower patterns.
Did you guys see that Eiffel Tower that he made on the laser machine?
That one was cool. Hey, Matt, welcome in.
Yeah.
Yeah, AJ saw it. I don't know if Roy saw it.
That's the first time I'm seeing it.
We lost Roy. No, we didn't. Never mind.
Drive a lane one when you can. Copy
Well,
that.
Roy's been lost for a while. So.
Hush your mouth, CJ.
Come on over. Demo.
Yeah, that came out so cool, man.
They're fun to make.
I bet.
And that's on a laser printer?
Stand for some wheels.
Yeah, the laser printer does it, and then it cuts it out all flat, and then when it's done, you just assemble it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think Chris uses basswood, right?
Yeah, this is basswood.
Yeah.
I can use balsa, so if I have a right file, I can actually start making RC planes.
Wow. Oh, yeah, the little 3D foamies, yeah.
Really?
Well, I could actually make, if I had a file, I could actually make an RC plane.
That's cool.
It's amazing the tools that are out there to make stuff today. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chris has always been a really talented person. Look at that.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
that is beautiful.
Yeah, he makes some really cool stuff, that's for sure.
That's all done with a laser. Look at his hair.
That's crazy.
That's cool.
That is
smoke.
Wow.
Oh, Buick.
Oh, wow.
And then the Mercedes I just showed you, I did this too.
Yeah, that's cool. So he took a picture of his car. And did you say that was leather? Or what
No,
was
this
that?
is canvas.
Oh, canvas. Yeah.
And then my daughter, she wanted me to show you guys my grandbaby.
Uh-oh.
Oh, precious. Oh.
How cute.
Hello.
Hi, little one. Hi.
Oh.
Oh, that's the best part.
That's adorable.
So, Chris, we're going to corrupt that little kid. He's going to be the first one to have a hot rod with a CB in it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And it was dark the other day, and this is my other hobby.
You have time for all this stuff?
What's that?
You have time to do all this?
Well, absolutely not. In fact, these need to. I need to sit and tune them. They're all out of tune. Are you guys familiar with the band Dawkins? Remember them from the 80s?
Yeah.
So this is Dusty, but it's a GL 600 FB baritone. Now the GL, let me let it focus. The GL stands for George Lynch, and he was the lead guitarist for Dawkins back in the day.
No kidding. Dude, that's cool.
And this is actually signed by him.
Wow.
Damn.
So
Dude, that's amazing.
Really?
That's his autograph.
That's cool shit.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a beautiful guitar. It's all one piece.
Oh, I see that. The neck and everything's all one piece.
It's all one
Yeah.
My daughter's guitar is the same too. It's all ivory inlay in the rosewood.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I wouldn't. How much is a guitar like that? Out of curiosity.
I lucked out and found this one on eBay for $800, and I've seen them on there listed for over $2,000.
Wow.
And then my daughter's guitar. Check the back out of this one. This one's all one piece as well.
That's a pretty color.
It is. It's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I need to clean them really good and detail
I
them.
like I like her neck strap.
Yeah, the Hello Kitty. But yeah,
Does she
it's
play better than you do?
I need to make some time for those ones. And a friend of mine in California painted this for me.
Nice.
Wow.
That was when I was racing 5-star cars.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
It's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, Chris, does your daughter play the guitar better than you do?
She probably does. She hasn't. We neither one of us have played for quite a while. I'm more along the lines of the heavy metal side. She learned a lot of flamenco style guitar back in the day.
That's more like a classical style, right?
Yeah, that's about what it's like. But I'm gonna have to get off here and run. We're gonna go visit my mom for a little bit and take the grandbaby for her to see.
Sure.
It is Sunday.
Oh. Hello. Hello.
Hi, big boy.
What are you up to?
How cute.
He's like, who the heck are all these people talking to me? Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Hey, Grandpa's
But I'll
crazy.
be on later.
Oh no, that's cool. Yeah, I got to get off here too. I'm gonna take my beautiful wife to a new antique store out here in Moriarty that opened up, and we're going to go get some lunch. And yeah, then we'll be back on later.
There you go.
Where's that
Yeah.
antique store right out there, Jay?
What's that?
All right, you guys.
Where's that antique
You guys
store
have a
out
great
there?
day.
Hey, you too, Chris. We'll see you later, my friend.
Yes, have a good one.
CJ, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. She told me about it last night when we were going to dinner.
Hey, Abel,
And
welcome in.
yeah, she said it was just a new store that opened up out here. But when we get in there, I'll let you know.
All right, cool. Yeah, 'cause I like looking at antiques.
I do too, man. My desk here that I'm actually sitting at, it's a roll top desk that I bought at some guy was selling on Facebook Marketplace. I paid $160 for it. It's a 1901 roll top,
Nice.
solid oak,
Did you say 1901?
1901.
Wow.
The key is a flat key with teeth in it, made by the American Lock Company out of Tennessee, I believe. And yeah, it's a beautiful desk, but it's older than I am, and it's probably going to be around longer than I am.
Probably, because they don't make them like they used to.
Crazy
Nope.
to think that thing's. Crazy to think that thing's still around and in good shape.
Yeah, it's in really good shape.
You know, you
Yeah,
stop
when
and
I
think
was
about it,
younger,
you know, the
my,
way everything was made back then was made to last for generation after generation after
Yeah.
generation.
Well, yeah, it
Yeah,
was
when I-
handmade, and
Yeah,
but
when I was younger, my grandfather, back in 1931, built my great grandmother a rocking chair. I still have that rocking chair. It's what I was used when I was rocked as a baby, and I still have it in good condition.
sure, you know, it was all handmade. It was made out of solid oak,
That's cool.
and
Yep.
yeah, and that's why it lasts because it had craftsmanship. People took pride in the shit they did.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I tell you guys, don't let no one modify your radios.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of that one Cobra that I showed you the other day, and I'll post it up with that inserted board that they put in that radio.
Yeah, it's sad. There's too many YouTube technicians, and they just don't do a good job. There's no pride in their work. They're just there for money. All right, folks. Well, with that said,
Yeah.
guys, this was a good live, man. It was cool.
All right, yeah, it was a good live today. I enjoyed it.
I know
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too, man. It was a fun time, and I don't know what happened to Doc there. Hey, Doc, your mic's muted. Hey, no, hey, Doc just wrote, great.
There he is.
I've just been on the radio term a Dad Burn listener.
Dad Burn listener. Well, no, that's cool, and I'm glad to see you on here, man. And we had a pretty good discussion earlier, and but yeah, one thing about the FCC, I will say, you got to be careful what you read. You got to figure out what are rules and what are laws. One you have to follow, one doesn't matter. And they try to control everybody, and I don't know about you all, but I'm tired of being controlled. I don't hurt anybody. I don't hurt anybody. I don't cause a ruckus on the radio. I don't talk shit on the radio. I don't do that. But it's not about that. It's about freedom.
Yep, agreed.
A lot of people paid the price for our freedom too.
Yeah, and you know, I still have respect. Like, I don't shoot skip on Channel 19.
You said it.
That's the trucker channel. Leave them alone. And but that doesn't matter. There's so many people that do it on 19. Hell, it don't matter. It's sad.
Yeah. Like hell, right now we're running Channel 10, and I've actually had to. I have my RF gain over so far. I've had to readjust it to my squelch just because it was rolling so hard earlier.
Yeah. Yep. And that's where those little handheld GMRS radios come into play.
Oh yeah. And
So
right
you
now
guys-
I've got enough for my 3 on my crew. So
Yeah. You guys leave the CB on 19 to monitor the road conditions. Excuse me. But then you guys can communicate through the little handhelds, and you're good to go.
Uh-huh.
But see, what we're talking about right here, that's a safety thing, right? So you guys have to have good communications, like the military, right? So, or someone to get hurt, someone to get killed, or an accident, whatever. You know, you don't want none of it to happen.
Yep, and the problem is with the blades is there's a total of 12 of us. And not all of us run it on the same channel. So when we're running together, we're on 10. But when we split off like we are now, we're all an hour apart. I know one crew's on 4, one crew's on 31, and then we're on 10. But when we get back together, we'll all end up back on the same channel. And
That sounds like
a lot of these drivers don't like private radios.
Why?
Not that they don't like them. They're too
Because
cheap.
it's more of a pain for them to grab another radio than it is just to use a CB. Then that's their deal of it.
That's fucking lazy. That doesn't even
I
make sense.
agree.
What's the
Most,
difference
like,
between
the
grabbing a
driver I'm
mic on a
running-
CB or grabbing another radio? You're making the same motion.
Yeah. So the driver that I'm running with now, I'm normally his steerman.
Yeah,
He prefers having our private radios. Most all my drivers do.
Well, I guess some people just have to learn the hard way.
They do.
Well, cool, guys. Once again, I want to thank everyone
Sure,
for all the
you guys,
likes and all the shares.
All right, Doc, 73s.
73. Doc, thanks for being on here, my friend. You have a good day. And thanks for all the likes, all the shares, all the subscribers. I do appreciate it. And I guess happy trails until we meet again. We'll be on later on tonight, folks.
All righty, 73s, everybody.
All right.
Folks, I'm probably not going to catch it tonight because I got to go to bed early.
Okay.
And
You all-
Roy, I'll
y'all
call
have-
you here when we're done.
All right. Y'all have a good day. We'll catch you later. Be safe out there. God bless.
73s.